You are a Dwemer, and in 3 days, every last one of your people will vanish from the world in the space of a single breath. Every child, every elder, every stranger you have passed in the deep halls without a glance. You among them. You do not know this yet, because this morning you are certain the way only your people know how to be, that you are about to become something the gods will have to answer to. You are right about the 3 days. You are wrong about everything that comes after them. One of you, out of every soul beneath the mountains, will not be standing where the rest of you stand when it happens. 1. In 4,000 years, that will be the only part of this that still matters. Your home has no sky, and you have never once missed it. You live beneath the mountains of a land the men above call Skyrim, in cities of brass and stone that will still be standing, lightless, humming, sealed, long after those men have forgotten how to read the name over your door. One of your halls is called Kagrenzel. In your tongue, that means the music city, and the name is not decoration. Your people build with sound. A note struck correctly can hold a ceiling up. A note struck correctly can shape metal with no forge, bend a lesser mind with no word, raise a wall out of a single held cord. You do not pray to make the world obey. You calculate. That is the thing that sets your people apart from every other race crawling across the surface. And you know it, and you are not humble about it. The men freeze in their halls and beg their dead heroes for spring. The elves who share your blood burn incense to a morning star and call it wisdom. You find all of it a little embarrassing. You were raised on a single principle. The moment a thinking creature kneels, it stops thinking. Reason liberates. Faith enslaves. You have believed this your whole life the way you believe the floor will be there when you step. And here is where it turns, because your people never stopped at disbelief. Anyone can disbelieve in gods. Your kind looked at the gods, measured them, found them unremarkable, powerful, yes, but not clever, not earned, and decided the only fitting response was to build a better one. Not to worship a god, to out-engineer him. That ambition is the warm, bright center of everything your civilization is. In 3 days, it is going to be the specific thing that kills you. There are others down here with you, and you try not to think about them too closely. They came to you a long time ago, a people from the surface, tall and pale and frightened, running from the men with axes who were burning them out of their own country. Elves, like you, distant cousins. They knocked on the door of the mountain and asked to be let in, and your people, in their reason, in their wisdom, said yes, for a price. The price was their eyes. You feed them a pale fungus that grows in the black places, and it takes their sight. Not for a day, not for a lifetime, but forever. Woven so deep into what they are that their children are born already blind, and their children's children, down every branch of them that will ever exist. You told them it was the symbol of the bond between your two peoples. You did not tell them it was so they could never look up and count how few of you were holding the whip. They grind your ore now. They haul your stone. They live in the dark beneath your dark, and you have trained yourself not to hear them. The way you have trained yourself not to hear a great many things that would complicate the clean, bright story your people tell about themselves. You are the most rational civilization the world has ever produced. You have built the closest thing to paradise that stone and sound can make, and you built it directly on top of a crime so complete that the people you did it to no longer have a name for you, only a name for themselves afterward: the betrayed. That is their word for what happened here. You are going to earn a word of your own before this is over. The reason you are so certain this morning, the reason the whole mountain is holding its breath. Deep beneath the deepest hall, below even the blind ones who serve you, your greatest architect found something buried in the red rock, a heart. Not a turn of phrase, an actual heart. Enormous, still beating, that belongs to nothing living. You know the story, or some version of it. It once belonged to a god. In the oldest days, a trickster spirit talked all the other gods into making the world, and they punished him for it by tearing out his heart and hurling it into the deepest place they could find. And that place turned out to be directly under your feet. A murdered god's heart, still warm, sitting at the bottom of your city like a coal that will not go out. And your architect, the finest mind your people ever made, the one who understood tone better than anyone alive, looked at the beating heart of a dead god and did not feel awe. He felt opportunity. His plan is the most ambitious thing any mortal has ever attempted, and it is simple enough to say in one breath. He is not going to worship the heart. He is not going to destroy it. He is going to tune it. He has forged tools, 3 of them, to reach into that divine engine and bind it to every Dwemer soul at once. The whole race threaded onto the pulse of a dead god like beads on a single wire. And then, together, all of you, he means to step up and out of the world entirely. To stop being mortal. To become one deathless thing, past the reach of any god, because you will have made yourselves into something a god cannot touch. This is the moment your people have been walking toward since the first of you decided a god was just a problem that hadn't been solved yet. Here is what none of you will let yourselves say out loud. No one has ever done this. No one can tell you what waits on the other side of it. Your architect cannot stand in a room and show you the finished thing and let you measure it, because the only way to reach it is to leave the room. To leave every room, all of you, at once, and trust that what waits on the far side is ascension, and not simply the end. Your entire people, who raised a civilization on the principle that you kneel to nothing you cannot prove, are about to stake every soul you have on an outcome not one of you will ever be able to check. You call it engineering, but strip the brass off it, and the shape underneath is the exact shape your philosophers spent an entire civilization mocking. It is the largest act of faith the world has ever seen, and you are going to make it with your eyes open in 3 days, and call it the triumph of reason. You have 3 days left, and you spend them the way anyone spends days they believe are ordinary. There is a war on, if you care to notice it. The gold-skinned elves who share the surface with the men have marched on your mountain because word of the heart has reached them, and their prophets have named what your architect is building an abomination. Their king was your king's friend, once. They die above you in their thousands, and you barely look up. Let them come. Let them break themselves on the doors. By the time they reach anything that matters, you will already be gods. The swords of frightened men will pass through you like weather. You are so sure the danger is the army at the gate that you never once think to fear the tool in your own architect's hand. On the 3rd day, deep in the heart chamber, with the enemy pouring through the halls above and his companions dead or dying around him, your architect makes a decision. Cornered, out of time, unwilling to let the work die with him, he lifts his tools and turns them on the heart. Not carefully, not across the patient years of tuning he had planned, but now, all at once, everything, the whole race threaded onto a dead god's pulse in one desperate stroke. And it works. Or it fails. You will never be able to tell the difference, and that is the entire point. Wherever you are in that instant, asleep, working, mid-word, halfway through a thought about what you will do tomorrow, you feel it. A single note, struck through every Dwemer alive at the same moment. The largest sound ever made, and the last one your people will ever hear. And then, you are not there. Not dead in any way anyone will ever find. Not buried. Just gone, mid-breath. The whole of your people lifted out of the world between one heartbeat and the next, down to the last child. leaving the torches still lit, and the machines still turning, and the doors still locked from the inside. The men above will spend the next 4,000 years walking your empty cities, prying loose your metal, wondering where the bodies are. There are no bodies. That was never how this ended. One of you was not standing where the rest of you stood when the note was struck at Tons. That moment, he is not beneath the mountain at all. He is somewhere else entirely. An errand in another world. One of those places your architects learned to open and walk into. He is not threaded onto the heart with the rest of you. The wire pulls tight around every soul of your people, and his Ts is the single thread it misses. So he does not ascend, or he does not die. Whichever one of those things happened to you, he does not get to go. He comes home to the mountain expecting his people and finds the torches burning over nothing. He walks the halls calling names. He climbs up into the daylight he was raised to look down on and searches the surface colonies one by one, every deep city under every mountain, for years, hunting for one other survivor, or failing that, for an explanation. He finds neither. He outlives the answer by thousands of years. The last mind of the most brilliant people the world ever made, alone in a graveyard the size of a race, carrying the one question none of you left anyone alive to answer. Thousands of years from now, when strangers finally find him, he will be bloated and broken by a plague that got into him somewhere along the search, kept alive, long past all reason, still turning your architect's tools over in his hands, still trying to understand what took everyone but him. They will know him only as the last living dwarf. He will not correct them. There is no one left who would know the difference. 3 days ago, you were certain. You were right about the 3 days. Your people spent an age teaching that only fools kneel to what they cannot prove, then staked every soul you had on the one thing none of you could ever check. You were right that you were leaving the world, and wrong to think you would ever know where you went. You have done a smaller version of it yourself, built a certainty tall enough to live inside, precisely so you would never have to look at the leap holding it up. If you want to know what became of the others, the ones who came for the men above, the trickster whose stolen heart started all of this, subscribe and stay in Tamriel a while longer. The torches are still burning in the empty hall. Far above, a man who cannot read the name over the door is working your metal loose from the wall, and the machines keep turning in the dark, faithful to masters who stepped out of the world and never told them they were leaving.